It is my privilege to welcome our next speaker to the stage. Meghan Keaney Anderson is the VP of Marketing at Hubspot. And if you're familiar with Hubspot, you're probably into marketing and sales and things like that. But Hubspot is one of the most successful startups here in Boston, which is now a publicly traded company. They run amazing conferences for marketers and sales reps, 25,000 people here in Boston just a week ago. And Meghan made time coming out of that event to be with us today, which is also her birthday. So we're excited to have her here and celebrate with her as well. She's going to be talking about putting the customer at the center of everything we do, how we can do that better, and how we can remove obstacles for our customers so that they can become our most loyal network of supporters. So ladies and gentlemen, happy birthday to Meghan Keaney Anderson of HubSpot.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming to my birthday party. It was really kind of you. I appreciate it. It was cool to catch the end of that last talk, too, because I was just at the Owl's Nest on the Esplanade last night, and it's awesome. So very cool to see their growth. Love seeing Boston area companies taking off and expanding. So I am here to talk with you about marketing and really about friction and the things that get in the way of your customer or donor relationship over time. I've been at HubSpot for 8 years, and HubSpot's been around for about 12 or 13 years, and over time as you grow, you just get a lot more friction in your operations. You don't notice it, it sneaks in, and it really starts to get in the way of your growth in your business and your overall customer experience. So I'm here to talk to you about how to find and eliminate that friction in your own processes and hopefully create a more seamless experience as a result and grow better. So this is the classic marketing and sales funnel. Quick show of hands, you guys recognize this? Use it in your own kind of marketing strategies. It's lovely, right? It's such a perfect metaphor. It's sleek, it's beautiful. It's flawed. It's flawed for a couple of reasons. One is because life is just not this neat. Things don't happen this easily where you get a bunch of people in the marketing world and then they all sort of trickle down into sales and then boom, out pops a customer. It just doesn't work that way. And the other reason it's flawed is that it forgets the most important ingredient to your perpetual growth, your customers. If you think about your own operations, what is it that brings momentum to your organizations and your institutions? It's not the first-time donor. It's the repeat donor. It's the advocate. It's the person that speaks on your behalf, the loyal donor. They are, in the words of the just genius Bette Midler, the wind beneath your wings. And it is actually them that drives your future growth. So businesses report that word of mouth is their single best source of referrals. We've seen this at HubSpot. Used to be search, used to be marketing. It's not anymore. It's word of mouth. And this has been long established. 60% of people trust what customers say when making purchase decisions, while only 35% trust companies. It's double. And you know this. This is intuitive from your own lives. You talk with your friends before you talk with companies about decisions that you've made. And this translates to the world of donations. It translates to the reasons that people decide to step up and give that first time. Quick side story. I have an uncle. He's amazing, salt of the earth. He's a big, burly guy, works in a factory, drives a motorcycle that he spent the better half of a decade trying to save for. And he gave the first time to my alma mater, which is Boston College, about 20 years ago when I was a student there. And he did it because I wrote an article about what a service trip that I had gone on there had meant to me. He never went to college. He's probably never set foot on Boston College's campus. But he gave because I implicitly asked him to. Now, he still gets fundraising emails from them every single year. So that's a whole other issue to talk about. But this is what motivates us as people, other people. But our whole marketing and sales practice is not set up that way. It's set up to consider the marketer as the primary form of influence. And that's just not true. Your donors are better at marketing than you. They just are. It stings a little bit as a marketing professional, but it's the truth. That donor who just can't use Photoshop, better marketer. The one who doesn't know what SEO stands for, better than me. The guy who still bings things, is a pretty smart marketer. And it's because of the weight that their word carries. Even the best optimized blog post is less influential than a donor's casual conversation. The most engaging Facebook video, as strong of a channel as that is for donations, goes unwatched unless one of your friends shares it or engages with it. This isn't just sort of common sense. This is how algorithms are tuned in social media. And even the best email in the world is going to get skipped in a crowded inbox filled with emails from colleagues and friends. So I think we need to shift our mentality from thinking that our purpose is to produce donors to thinking that our purpose is really to empower donors, because the empowered donor will drive more donations. And that all comes down to a good donor experience, which brings me back to that friction point. If the donor is in the center of your growth, if the donor is truly powering everything, then the only thing standing in the way of that momentum building year after year, is the friction that you inadvertently put into your process. You guys with me on that? Does that make sense? All right, so let's talk about friction in the donor experience. I know I promised you a talk about lead nurturing. I'm getting there. I tend to do like a roundabout way into these things. This is really a talk about lead nurturing, about nurturing your donors, because the number one thing that gets in the way of that is friction. So you can think about growth as the combination of your best marketing and your best sales and your happiest donor or customer times 2, or raised to the power of 2, undercut by all the friction in your process. So let's go find some friction. This is an actual, it's a model of something that we use inside HubSpot to measure our own growth. And the numbers aren't real, public company, they don't let you share real numbers, but I'll give you a sense of sort of how we look at this month over month. So we start at the very top and we look at traffic. How much did we add this month? How much did we lose this month from the prior month? And then we look at the sign-up ratio out of that traffic. So people who, for example, I put this into the donor terminology, people who became first-time donors after coming to your site. What's that conversion rate? Is that higher or lower than last month? Then you look at the percentage of those donors who turn into recurring donors, repeat donors. And then finally, what percentage of those repeat donors become promoters, start writing about you to their friends on Facebook or Instagram. We put a lot of emphasis on reviews. I know there's not sort of a centralized review site for philanthropy, but we have an entire person whose job is to drive positive reviews for HubSpot and to measure that month over month and respond to those reviews, because that becomes a huge source of traffic for us. So for example, we have the big software review sites are G2, TrustRadius. These are places you might have actually looked to search for software. Capterra is another one. Across all these sites, we have 18,000 reviews. Each of those 18,000 reviews is a search-friendly page on the internet that drives directly back into our site. So the more reviews that we get, the more traffic we get back into our site, and it's a word of mouth from someone who is a third-party independent person. So it actually carries more weight than even a blog post that we have that ranks. So reviews matter a lot to us, but it doesn't need to be a review site. It could be just having a casual conversation, sharing on social media your affinity to this organization. So we measure all that. We no longer sort of measure the stages of the funnel. We try to look at this full circle, virtuous loop of traffic into donors, into recurring donors, into promoters, and then back. Friction can get in the way of any of this. It's often found in the handoff points between teams. So if you've got a marketing team whose job is to drive interest, and then you've got a development team whose job is to convert that interest, somewhere in that handoff there's probably some friction. Poor internal processes, seeing donors as just numbers, not adapting to their interests. Those are all the places that friction can lie. There's really three that I want to talk to today, given the amount of time that we have, because they're the most common things that I see. The first is bad timing. So we all do this as marketers. We have an imbalance between the amount of communications we send at different stages of that customer or donor life cycle. So maybe your fundraising emails kind of look like this. They come in mass, they are sleek, they are powerful. But then your impact emails, the thank yous, the ones that follow up and show what that donation did, they're a little bit lighter, am I right? So understanding where communication matters in that experience and weighting it appropriately, not for the first-time donor, but for the repeat donor, to actually show impact and to keep that relationship alive, that eliminates friction. We also work on finding the right cadence of sending those communications. So this is from, sorry, I didn't get the source up there. It's from a company called Classy that does an annual philanthropy report. And one of the things that they found was there are kind of periods of donations that take place where the average donor will come back every year, basically on the year mark, to donate again, some sort of a trigger. But that may be different for your own experience, for your own donor base. You may find that it's a 3-month cycle or a 4-month cycle. So look into the data to find that and pull that out. Finally, an experiment that we ran. One day, my head of the blog came to me and said, I want to cut our blog email subscriber list by 200,000 people. And I took a deep breath, and I said, you're completely out of your mind. And she said, listen, these people aren't engaging with us. They're gray mail. They have not opened an email from us in the better part of a year. It doesn't matter how many emails we send them, they are not going to open it. And what's more, by sending emails that are unopened, we're actually decreasing our deliverability rate, because Gmail and other email service providers will start to mark you as spam if you have low engagement in your emails. And so I let her run that experiment. She cut the list. I thought we'd see a huge drop-off in traffic. We did not. We saw a huge increase in our open rate. We saw a great increase in our click-through rate. And we did this automatically. So we didn't ask the customer who wasn't engaged to unsubscribe. We didn't put that work on them. We just sent them one final email that said, hey, it seems like you're not that engaged in our emails anymore. That's okay. People get busy, even though you subscribed initially. We're just going to move you down to a lower subscription model, or we're going to unsubscribe you after this point. Let us know if you don't want us to do that. And we got great reactions. Thanks for giving me some breathing room. I was close to ending my subscription, but to be honest, but now never. This is a much better solution for me. Thank you for thinking of me. The relationship got better because we thought about their inboxes. That's bad timing. Poor context. So there's this great story out of, sorry about that. There's this great story out of YouTube where when they first started, they found that about 10% of their audience was uploading videos upside down, and they couldn't figure out what it was. They studied everything. They thought it was a glitch in the software, and finally they realized what the reason was. Anybody know? Turns out about 10% of the population is left-handed, and left-handed people hold their phone differently than right-handed people. And so the videos got uploaded upside down. Turns out nobody on the founding team for this product was left-handed. They never ran that test. You have to understand your customers. So I would suggest going back with your teams, mimic that donation process. Go through it yourselves. Donate $5 to your own organization or institution. Figure out where you feel the friction, because where you feel it, your donors will feel it. And then target that. We also hired a woman to be our voice of the customer at HubSpot. She does this on a daily basis. She listens to the customers, she talks with them, and she surfaces that to our product team and our marketing team to find ways for us to improve. Context matters in channels, too. Turns out if people donated the first time on a mobile device, they're probably going to donate the second time on a mobile device. So make sure that your content is optimized for that channel. If they donate through Facebook, they're probably going to donate through Facebook the second time. So maybe don't send them an email if the method that they like is Facebook. Go through Facebook Messenger or your pages. I'll talk about this one in a minute. The final thing is we're just far too rigid in the options that we provide to our customers and donors. So we ran an experiment where we decided instead of sending our customers down a particular nurture path that we crafted, we would let them choose their own adventure. We gave them options about what they wanted to learn about, and we let them choose. Turns out it opened up the open rate significantly. It increased the click-through rate significantly across the board. Huge improvement. 50% in the open rate, that's unheard of for us. We did the same thing on our website. We usually just had one way to contact us on our website. We added in chat and calendar and meeting bookings and calling, because options make a difference. By doing that, we saw a 170% increase in our total engagements. For time, I'll skip through a couple of these. We started using messaging and bots within that messaging to answer questions when we were off hours. And we found out that people actually like engaging with bots. They get it. They know it's not a person, but they know it can help them get the answer that they need. So we saw a great increase in engagement through the use of bots. That orange line there is the amount of engagements that we had, actually double what we had when we offered people a real person. The bottom line here, across all of these, is that you want to meet people where they are, on their schedules, with context into who they are and the channels that they like, and then with options for them to evolve that interaction over time. Meet people where they are, and you'll reduce friction. So quick recap before I get off stage. Be donor-powered, not just donor-producing. Friction in your donor experience is the single biggest threat to that growth. You often find it in communications and handoffs, so do the secret shopper thing. Go through and find out where the bad points are in that experience. Tailor your timing. Understand and store the context that you have on your donors. Provide options. And finally, know that donations are going to flow where the friction is low. If you remove that from the equation, it creates a much greater momentum for your own growth. Thank you very much. I'm Meghan Keaney Anderson. If you have questions, you can find me on Twitter. Final advice, get a dog. They're awesome, and don't fret.